Happy Earth Day, everybody. Thank you for being here. Happy Earth Day, Mike Perez. I see you've used the chat. Welcome, and I'm so glad to see you. Thank you for being with us here today. Welcome to a beautiful next 2 hours where we are going to celebrate Earth Day and Earth Month. Hopefully, we'll celebrate it every day. We are going to celebrate it today um, by learning how to celebrate it every day. My name is Lucian. I will be your host today. One of the hosts. We have an additional host today, Anna Maria. Some of you that participated in some of the past few workshops that we did for this Earth Month, you might remember Anna Maria also, and I'm sure you will remember me. So I'd like to invite you to use the chat option right now and say Happy Earth Day to everybody so that you are familiar where to click. And I'd like to invite you to make this Earth Day webinar an interactive one. Thank you, Linz. An interactive one where we are going to make this webinar happen together. So you can use that chat room at any time to ask any questions. Yes, they were recorded. I see a question already here. I love that. That's a great use of the chat option. Yes, we do have the recordings, and more people want to come inside of this room also. We're welcoming Tiffany. So yes, they are, and you are actually going to receive those links if you stay all the way to the end. That is basically the trade-in here. So welcome, and please say hello to everyone on the chat option. This is where you can interact with us during this webinar at any time if you have any questions. I invite you to be earth loving and people loving the entire time when you're interacting on the chat. I think that goes without saying because you are here already. And if you would like to take the mic at any time, also please acknowledge that via the chat. So we really believe that everybody that's here is you're earth and people loving people. So we are leaving this like really open, and we'll see that we know that we will be proven right, that we are all beautiful, amazing people that are here to celebrate Earth and celebrate this beautiful planet we're on. So this is the last for this Earth Month, but it's not going to be the last type of workshop where we're engaging in conversations around sustainability, around as many of my friends would call it, tree hugging, around really enlightened actions to live on this planet that are both good for us at the individual level and for the entire community of life. This is a series that is sponsored and supported and co-created by myself, Lucian Toma, with my organization Re-Earth, and Anna Maria, that you'll see here in a moment. And with the help and support of the City of Carlsbad's Sustainable Materials Management Division, that's doing amazing work in Carlsbad. And I believe through this kind of work, even beyond, we want to welcome some of the San Diego County and Riverside County people that are joining. We want to welcome Solana Center for being here. Thank you so much for your support. Yes, awesome. Okay, so I'd like to share with you the agenda for today, and I think you see it, and I think you see my screen on the top right corner. If you don't see it on the top right corner, you have different opportunities to click on the view, and you're mostly going to see a video. I just have these two slides where I was welcoming you, I was inviting you to use the chat and giving you a happy Earth Day. And then this second slide, and after that, we're just gonna go straight video, and we're gonna do these beautiful, amazing things that are here on the agenda. So first, I'd like to share a little bit more about the speakers. I forgot an S over there. and some of the programs in Carlsbad. I'll keep them really short, programs that are there to support you in your journey with sustainability in general. And then I am going to talk about seed starting. After seed starting, I'm going to pass it to Anna Maria, that you'll see her here in a moment. Would you turn on your video for a moment and say hello? I hope you can see her in the corner. And I'm going to mute myself for a moment so you can hear her, or maybe we'll just.
Hi, hello.
There we are. So you can see me here in the back. Hi, everybody. And you can see her at the other end. There she is. So I will be doing the seed starting in the context of home waste reduction. And I'm sure you have a lot of questions. What does that have to do with reducing waste at home, starting seeds? Well, quite a lot. And I hope you'll enjoy that. And then we are going to, Anna Maria is going to share with you about quick pickling. This is a pretty cool waste reduction, home waste reduction strategy and technique here. Really fun and not as demanding as like when you hear pickle stuff, you would think that you need so many things, but you'll see it's such a simple, beautiful process here that I'm going to demonstrate for you really fast. A home vermicompost bin setup. Some of you have seen this before, but I'm going to make it so simple, maybe to remind some of you that were here. And I see Prakash and Elizabeth, and I think if I scroll down, I'll see some other people that have been here, that were here last Saturday. So thank you for coming back and being here. And some other people I see here too that have been to some of those workshops. So I'm gonna make it really simple. Um, Really simple vermicompost bin setup for those that have never seen it before. You'll see it maybe for the first time. Hopefully you learn something. Hopefully, maybe you hear something new, or maybe you're just going to be so happy that you've been doing it right this entire time. And then we'll talk about how do bees help reduce plastic pollution. And I'll just let you think about that and wait for that. I'm not going to tell you yet how that's going to be. That's going to be a short conversation with a little bit of a demonstration. And then I'm going to share a feedback form with you. Have you give you a few moments with some music. We'll figure out what kind of music, we'll vote what kind of music you want us to play. Maybe some reggae, maybe some opera. I mean, we can put some rock in here to rock the house on Earth Day, because it's so worth celebrating. And then we'll do a raffle. We have a few amazing items today. We know some people participated in our last two workshops and they won the raffle. So I have a list here of those people. So I'm not going to have you win the same thing again. Okay, you're lucky people. We're going to make sure that we put you in the raffle for other things. I want to also acknowledge one more thing, is that people are also watching this on Facebook. And I'd like to acknowledge them and tell them that we apologize, but we are not able to interact with you directly and engage you and answer your questions. We did provide you with a link for this Zoom meeting right on the Facebook page. Please use that to log in and join us here. And this is what we did last time too. And we had quite a lot of people. And we know that some people don't want to necessarily participate in that way. And we're okay with that. We're very excited to have you even just watching, because there's a lot of good learning. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for using the chat. And I am going to stop sharing right now. And you're going to see me full screen right now in a moment. Wow, there I am. And make Earth Day every day, Carlsbad. Thank you for being here. Again, I just want to really say it again. This is so awesome. It's a very rare event, very unique event. The City of Carlsbad Sustainable Materials Division is doing fantastic work to invest and support you in your journey with sustainability and involve you and empower you to be part of the solution in Carlsbad and beyond, in this idea of reducing and ideally eliminating all waste possible. So if you've been to our first workshop, and you're going to get a link to it, hopefully you stay all the way to the end and you'll get that link. In our first workshop, we talked about 10 different ways you can live a sustainable life. And we actually stay way beyond the 2 hours that we allotted, because there were so many interested people and people that really wanted to be there and discuss and learn as much as possible and collaborate. So we had a long discussion. Elizabeth, I think you'll be okay if I tell people that you were so excited to participate in that conversation and contribute so much. So I'd like to invite you to maybe do the same today, everyone, because it's fun. We can get a lot of new things, we can learn a lot of new things from other people. So the first thing here is on the agenda is starting seeds at home. As you can tell, we're in our greenhouse here, and I wanted to show you, we start a lot of seeds. Some people's greenhouses, some people's windowsills, some people's, inside the garage, or even somewhere outdoors, because it's so beautiful. Carlsbad weather really allows us, even if we have a very simple setup inside the house or in the garage, or a simple greenhouse, it's so easy, so simple to start seeds. We're starting a lot of seeds, but it's really easy. Really, it's such an easy thing. And starting seeds at home really goes hand in hand with gardening at home. Okay, and gardening at home doesn't necessarily have to be where you have a really huge yard, or like a place where you can put something in the ground or put some raised beds. Gardening can really be done in really small spaces. You can do it in pots and everything, but all of that starts with starting seeds. And how that plays a role in home waste reduction is in this way. If you are growing some of your, let's say, some of your herbs or some of your veggies, to put in a salad, or much more than just some of them, you would reduce a lot of that waste and pollution that's associated with store-bought veggies, right? And I hope you eat your veggies, and I hope you incorporate all kinds of fresh herbs in your diet, because it's so good for you. So especially if you grow it yourself at the house, you really know what goes into it. So the waste reduction element is that instead of going somewhere to buy these things, I have a very clear scenario in my head that I've heard it over and over and over. People get so excited to cook something, and they may need just one ingredient, some type of fresh herb, like some basil, let's say, or some cilantro or some parsley for a dish. And they'll have to hop in the car and go to the market to get it. And sometimes, and hopefully, that's the one thing that we want to eliminate as much as possible and stay away from, is that we're not going to buy that packaged in a bag. That's kind of like the first number one, kind of like living a sustainable life, where we're going to go to the farmer's market. You're already reducing your impact quite a lot. You're already reducing a lot of waste and pollution associated with that. So the waste could be the plastic that it comes in. Well, you go to the farmer's market, maybe you get in, just not even getting it in a bag, or you get it in a compostable bag, or you getting it in a paper bag that's also compostable. And then the next level is like you've grown it at your house. It is just so beautiful to have just a few herbs and a few things, depending on how big your place is. So now the next layer of that is that, let's say you want to grow some things. So I'm going to show you in our greenhouse here. This is right next to our house, right next to our kitchen. We grow a lot of veggies here and a lot of herbs. Anna Maria and myself, whenever we make a meal, we always have fresh salad right here, and always have fresh herbs to just put it in our food. So we would create so much more waste and so much more pollution if we actually went to the store and bought the seedlings started already, right? So we're going like really radical here with reducing waste when it comes to gardening. And you're going to hear a few more things that I believe are very important, not just to reduce the waste that's happening in Carlsbad, but even beyond that. So it's pretty obvious plastic, right? We buying something wrapped in plastic or it comes in plastic. You're going to wonder, oh my God, is this recyclable? Um, is this reusable? Where am I going to store it? Can I use it again? Will I use it again? And so on and so forth, that conversation. But there's a lot more things when you start seeds. So I like to invite people that already have gardens at home or start seeds at home to please share with us in the chat if you're already doing that. So we know how many gardeners we have here or how many people started seeds already. And if you don't already, I'd like to see how many people are interested to start. There we go. Lynn says mostly herbs. Awesome. How many people, some fruit trees, beautiful. How many people would be interested to start growing a little bit of their food, even if it's in a pot? And I'm going to bring you a pot right now to show you. So, you know, even if we have space here, everywhere, we have some blueberries in a pot. We have all kinds of other things in pots too, but can you see this could be anywhere on a balcony and you get yourself a few blueberries. So there they are. You see the flowers are going to be blueberries shortly, right? I'm going to put this back and continue that conversation. Let's see who else. I would like to get tomatoes and lima beans going as well as herbs. Yes, lettuce, spinach, tomatoes, carrots, and herbs. I want to start my own this summer. I have 3 veggie beds, a few tomatoes, cucumbers, eggplants, strawberries, and an avocado tree. You know, the beauty of growing home, if you have the space, the beauty of it, and you know, people that have been growing, you know that sometimes you grow so much that you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do with it? Well, you can start a little market right in front of your yard, or share with people at the farmers market, or let's get in this community here with Carlsbad Sustainability. This is what we transitioned from home composting, Carlsbad home composting, to Carlsbad Sustainability, and we can discuss all kinds of things. And the city is so supportive of all kinds of ideas and people getting together. So also seedlings, for people that are interested in our entrepreneurs, you can start seedlings and take them to the market or invite people to, I don't know, donate some money or pay for some of your seedlings. So there's all kinds of ideas where we can start this. We can start this community. We can be in this community and be involved and connect with each other in this way, and then probably have even bigger conversations of other things that we'd like to accomplish when it comes to sustainability, when it comes to waste reduction in Carlsbad and beyond. We have more. Grow everything from seeds. Vanessa also has lots of vegetables, herbs, going, always adding more backyard raised beds and community garden. Yay! We have some really big tree huggers. Like, let's all hug trees together and gardeners. So that's super awesome. Okay, so there's so many reasons how I'm seeing, like, you know, home waste reduction. When it comes to starting seed, you are reducing the waste of time of not connecting with people this entire time. You are engaging and using time to connect with people and with nature. Such a beautiful natural process. So we can go completely practical, where that's where our interest is really in general, like working with the city. How can we find solutions at the practical level to reduce waste? But we can go philosophical too, like, you know, stop wasting our time on this planet. Let's live it really beautiful and do beautiful things. So I'm going to put this back, and will you open that door? It's super hot. Thank you so much. So starting seeds, here are a few things that you would need. Of course, you would need seeds. And today, some of you are going to win all kinds of seeds. And as always, as we do in our workshops, we invite you to basically let us know if you want them or not. Sometimes, you know, people may not want a specific gift, or let's say if you win it, donate it and give it back to the community. So we have a lot of seeds here. I'm not going to necessarily promote a specific company, to buy seeds from. Because we're in this work, we get a lot of sponsorship. So besides you know, a lot of composting work that we do, we are also garden designers and horticulturists. We teach at college level, both myself and Anna Maria. We teach permaculture, we teach wellness gardening, we teach garden design, and so on and so forth. And we also do it at our different locations in the United States. And I'm not going to do that during this workshop, but I gotta invite you to think about this when you get your own seeds. Buy it from a company that really puts a lot of emphasis on heirloom, non-GMO, organic. Either one of those would be great, okay? If it's all three, it would be amazing. So this could be a very long conversation. Why? Because and the simplest answer is there's a lot of waste and associated pollution associated with seeds that are not in this category of heirloom, organic, non-GMO. Okay, and you know, if it's heirloom, for sure is not going to be a GMO. But I just wanted to make sure that I say that. So there's all kinds of companies in there. I will mention a few, but not because they sponsor us or anything. There's one that's called Baker's Creek heirloom seed. There's one that's called the Seed Savers. You can also participate by growing seeds for a community of people that will purchase them. So take a look at those things. So, you know, the first thing you need to start seeds, you need seeds, right? You can buy them from a company, but you can also ask in the community who's saving seeds. And the most beautiful, powerful thing you can do is to save seeds at home. Okay, wonderful. More and more people are coming from Facebook to Zoom here. So for example, here I have a parsley, and we're going to work with parsley right now. So the first thing you need to do is to get yourself seeds. In parallel with that is to get a little bit of knowledge or a lot of knowledge. If you follow us on Instagram or on Facebook and you see our other work that we do, or anybody else that's doing this work, go learn as much as possible of when is the season for specific seeds. So that's very important to understand when to start them. So I can tell you right now, it's April 22nd, Earth Day. There's still a good time to start parsley. Okay, there's still a good time. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh wow, we have all kinds of like seeds here. It might not be a good time to start. Let's see. Actually, you know, in Carlsbad, you can do anything you want to. Just don't start any tomatoes, cucumbers, and squashes in the winter. But you can start right now almost anything that you want to put outside. So we got some onion, we got some parsley. I'm going to do the parsley today because it's a really cool one. And actually, where's that tray of parsley? I wanted to show it to you. Oh yeah, we just started last week. I mean, not last week, last month. They've been in here for quite a long time, but that's because also we had them in the cold. So we've done some experiments, but really cool, right? Anyway, so you need seeds, heirloom, organic, non-GMO. You need to have an understanding of what's the best seeds to start at specific different times. So maybe don't start tomatoes in January. You can start them a little bit later. Wow, beautiful. More and more people are coming. Okay, so seeds. Number two, you'll need a container to start them in. How many people have these around and you wonder what it can do? Okay, so egg cartons, they can be different kinds. We don't purchase eggs because we have chickens at one of our locations, but make sure when you purchase eggs, get them in this kind of containers, the kinds that you can actually compost, the kinds that you can actually compost at home. So this is compostable. It's from a material that's compostable. So it could be an egg carton like this. It could be, you know, maybe, well, actually, I'll show you this. It could be a tray like this, like I showed you. So we grow a lot of seeds. You don't have to grow the same kind in the entire tray, but you can do different kinds. So this is a plastic. However, this is reusable. So if you treat it right, this is reusable and you can use it over and over and over again. And you can actually do a good research and say, what's the most reusable seed starting trays out there? What are the most durable ones? So here we have an example of one that we can probably use for 5, 6, maybe even 10 years before we need to decide what's next with this. So I wish we made a better decision and bought a more durable plastic or a truly recyclable plastic. Even though this is recyclable, it would take us a lot of effort to clean it up and put it basically in the recycling stream. Okay, so something like this, or maybe you want to have something a little bit bigger. So you'll see I'm going to demonstrate in a moment that at one point, so for example, this guy here, we started it in the tray here, and then we up potted it in a bigger spot, or we could have started the seed straight in this. So there's a lot of options of biodegradable containers to start seeds. Okay, so seeds, understand the season, make sure you get heirloom organic non-GMO, and then a container that could be something that could be composted in the future and biodegrade in your compost, and maybe even in your soil. Another container which is the same, it's a biodegradable compostable container that you can take the seed, plant it in your garden, or you can plant it with this container and it will disintegrate in your garden. Or something like this if you need more space and you wanted to make it easier on yourself, but think about that, you'll have to figure out how to recycle that. The next thing that you need is a seed starting soil mix. So I highly recommend you do one yourself, or you can actually buy it at a store. But I really invite you to look at buying something organic. But there's one more thing, and I really, 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 I beg you to do this when you go and buy soil for your garden or to start your seeds. Stay away from any seed starting or garden soil that has peat moss in it. Peat moss. Please stay away from that, because peat moss comes from some of the most beautiful ecosystems on this planet that have the strongest and highest capacity to absorb carbon from the atmosphere and put it in the soil. So take a look at how do moss bogs look like. Okay, so peat moss or peat bogs look like and what they are. They are amazing. So I invite you to not support those type of products. I invite you to buy, if you are buying a seed starting kit that has coconut coir, okay? And the coir is COIR. Guess how funny that is, because you can use that with your vermicompost bin too, okay? So the point of a seed starting mix is that it has fluff to it, quote unquote. It's fluffy, so it's able to maintain moisture, but it's also able to drain it really well. And it's also like light, so that when the roots of the seed are growing, they can really penetrate and work really easy through the soil versus a soil that's heavy or is super compacted. Okay, so for example, this mix that we have here, it's coconut coir with compost, and we added a little bit of perlite in it. But many times we just do compost and coconut coir. Okay, so coconut coir is a sustainable material that you can buy, that you can use in gardening. So that's really, I'm inviting you to step into that, truly celebrating Mother Earth in everything that we do, like extremely, like radically, not just like, I'm growing tomatoes, yay, this is amazing. Well, I'm growing tomatoes in a medium that's not hurting the environment out there. So we got seeds, we got trays, and we got soil. And then, of course, the element of life, water, okay? And love, of course. You can write that down if you want to. You have to have love in your heart when you start seeds, okay? Or you'll get love in your heart when you start seeds, okay? So this is that, and we're about to go to the next thing, but I want to demonstrate really fast for you how to start these seeds, okay? So I am going to do it in the egg carton, and I hope you can see this, okay? So in the egg carton, what I'd like you to understand is that, you know, you have a specific amount of space, and you know, also you might want to grow specific type of seeds. Some seeds are not even worth starting like this. You have to start them straight into either a bigger container where it's going to grow to its full size, or in the garden outside. Okay, so the first step, you know, you got your container, and this is cool because this material is also breathable. If you would like to breathable, and also it also allows for the water to move through it, right, when you're watering. But if you want to take an extra step, what did I do with my pen? Oh, there we go. Would you find a label for me, please? I think they're all over there and I completely forgot. There was one more thing that I forgot to tell you that you need when you're doing it. So you can make some holes at the bottom if you want to have a little bit better drainage. You don't want those seeds to stay in like really soggy kind of soil. You want the, you know, some of you that came to all of the, or some of the composting workshops, you're going to recognize this language that you want the soil consistency to be like a wrung out sponge. Okay. Thank you so much. Beautiful. So I'm making some holes at the bottom of this container here. Finally, you know what to do with these before you put them in your vermicompost. Okay, so I made some holes. I'm gonna add some soil, and adding the soil in here, you don't wanna really like pat it down. You don't want to compact it. You want it to be as, you know, kind of like free standing in there. You know, it's fluffy. You can pat down a little bit, but very lightly. Okay. So we have the soil in there. It's a fluffy soil. If anybody, you know, if you're ever teaching this to anybody, or you know, a way to remember me forever, it could be fluffy soil. Okay. So you're leaving it like really light like that. Let me see, I got my parsley here. Okay, so parsley seed is not a really big seed. And your next step, what you can do is use the same pen without like, you know, having the writing part out. And you can make some really small holes in here in each of these cells. Okay, you got them in there. And then you can get your seed. Now, here's the thing about parsley. The seeds are really small, okay? Super small. And, you know, you're not going to be able to really get one seed in there. There's all kinds of devices you can buy online, but I don't recommend them all the time to actually have exactly one seed if you want to. I invite you to do it really how our ancestors from all cultures, from all around the world have been doing it for millennia. You know, we don't know, maybe millions of years. I'm just joking here, but you know, it's really beautiful to, as you saw, you know, I'm touching the soil, I'm touching the seeds with my hand. I'm really getting in touch with all that ancestral, you know, wisdom and beauty. And yes, you can tell that this is a Carlsbad supported, City of Carlsbad Sustainable Materials Management Division workshop, where we touch on all kinds of subjects. Anyway, so I'm taking the parsley. It's going to be really hard to put one seed in there. With some seeds, you can also find recommendations online that you may want to put multiple seeds in one hole versus then trying to do actually one. So in the case of the parsley, you could drop, you know, 2 or 3 seeds in there, and they'll germinate, and actually it will grow. It will grow really well, even like that together. Okay, so I have those seeds in there. I don't want to make a waste here. Once I planted them in there, I can kind of like cover these holes with soil really lightly here. My next step is very obvious what I'm going to do. I am going to water them, and you want to use like something that has a really light watering touch. The best would be like a misting option on your hose. You can even make yourself something like this. Okay, so I think I did a little bit too much water here. I like to keep it like this. I could have used this side too and maybe like seed some other things, but I'm just gonna pretend that I know what I'm doing here. I think I'm very emotional right now that I'm doing this, and this is really beautiful. So anyway, so you started this. Now the cool thing to remember is right now maybe I gave it a little bit too much water. It's kind of like mucky in here, but I'm pretty sure the water will drain at one point. The one thing to remember is that in the beginning, you probably don't want to have this in full sun, but you will want to transition them a little bit later when they have a few leaves. Okay, so right now they could be in a place where there's some filtered sun. They need to be in a place where it's still warm. It doesn't go under 60, let's say 60 degrees, even though they'll germinate even at a lower temperature. They'll even germinate at 45 degrees, but it would take way longer. So a lot of you that come to my composting workshops, you know, when I talk about vermicompost, that, you know, temperature is definitely a big factor, but temperature sometimes, if you can't get the perfect one, it could only influence, you know, their activity. And it's the same with the germination here. You want a good germination, you want that plant to come out and be healthy. Well, then make sure that you have these in a place where there's a good temperature between 65 and 75 degrees, and they'll be really good. Well, maybe between 65 and 70 would be even best. So that's basically the end of what you're doing, and you want them to be somewhere where they're not getting, you know, rained on, they're not getting extreme heat, extreme cold, a lot of wind, and so on and so forth. And you want to come and water them every day. The beauty of using, you know, something like more professional like this, you know, is that the drainage is perfectly calculated and it works really well. Well, there's one more step here, okay? So we can continue to do this, but I wanted to tell you a secret. We have a video on seed starting A to Z. It's like it's full, it's complete. You'll get so much about seeds that we did actually for Carlsbad residents. So I'm gonna share that link with you at the end. And we did it last Earth Day. But remember this last step, you want to put the type of plant you planted. So you want to put, I have parsley here, parsley, okay. And then sometime you may have an additional name for the parsley, right? So this is a moss curled. I think it's really good to put that too. So I'm going to write that down. I'm just going to put MC because I've heard of this before. And then what you want to do is you want to put the date for today, 4/22/2021. And if you want to, you can also put another information on the other side, how many days until germination or how many days until transplant. And you can find that information on the back of the seed pack in general. This one says that it's going to sprout between 14 and 35 days. Well, that's a long time, right? So I'm going to put that there. Then I'm going to put this here. Now this guy can join all his brothers and sisters. So I hope you enjoyed that very quick demonstration and that conversation about starting your own seeds. I would be interested to learn if any of you are saving your seeds from your garden that you started, and you grew your stuff and you saved seeds. Of course, if you grew organically, if your seeds were non-GMO, if your seeds were heirloom, I'll be really interested to make some exchanges with you. And some of you will also win seeds today. So I'd like to ask you, before I move it to Anna Maria, how many people would be interested to win a good handful or multiple handfuls of seeds today? Strawberry, I'm in. Mike Perez is ready. Yeah. Greg is also ready. Vanessa's ready. Beautiful. Okay, so that's exciting. We'll remember that, and hopefully the software will also remember that to choose you. Otherwise, anybody else that's winning those seeds, remember that these people want them, okay? And you can gift it to them, and they'll remember you forever. So here's what I'm going to do. I would love to open it to questions, but I'd rather go to the next thing so you can get another beautiful demonstration today. So I'd like to invite you to get your attention, and you can start your video anytime, Anna Maria, to get your attention to Anna Maria. Anna Maria is my partner and co-creator of Re-Earth Consulting and wonderful permaculturist just like me, garden designer. Her two main things, her expertise is in herbalism from A to Z, how to grow herbs, how to make medicine with herbs, And also she is a beekeeper. She's a natural beekeeper. But today she's going to talk about something that's more of a passion. So I'm going to let her take that. I'm going to mute myself, and I'll see you in a little bit when I'm going to do a demonstration on vermicomposting. See you soon.
All right, here we go. Awesome. Love this greenhouse interaction. Okay. Welcome to my cooking show. This is like a little dream come true for me. So we are going to talk about quick pickling. And I'm a little bit away from my computer, so can someone give me a thumbs up that you can hear me okay? Awesome, thank you so much. Okay, cool. So in the conversation of waste reduction, obviously a huge component of that is food waste. And there's many statistics out there when we think about how can we capture the amount of food that's being wasted every year. And domestically here in our country, it's literally millions and millions of pounds that goes into the garbage every year. And this is obviously very troublesome and very counterintuitive when we think about how many people struggle with access to food and hunger, of course. And yet here we are throwing food away every day. And I don't want to lecture you too much on that because I don't want you to feel really sad if you have tossed some food in the garbage before. But this series is to help you make some minor changes so that you don't have to do that anymore. Literally one of the most radical things that you could do is to not put food in the waste basket or in the garbage. A natural thing like food or herbs, any kind of plant material can go back to the earth. And if you don't eat it, then compost it or find a way to compost it through a friend or through the city. So food waste is something that happens in our kitchen every day. And also it can happen without the intention of it happening. You may be trying really hard at home to eat really well, buy organically or buy locally. And sometimes you still have an occasional bunch of radishes or a head of lettuce that happen to go bad before you could eat it. So one of the ways in which we can try to eliminate some of that food waste is by using food preservation techniques, right? And there are many different techniques, from drying to pickling, canning, freezing, of course. You can even use your vacuum sealer. So there's different ways, right? And in this quest to be like really to eat with integrity, if we can't grow our own food, but we're supporting local farmers or we're going to the farmers market, we still may run into a situation where, oh my gosh, I just got 4 heads of cauliflower in my CSA. What do I do with that? Or this is way too much for me to eat right now. That happens a lot with the CSA programs, which is community supported agriculture, where you can buy a membership basically, and you get a box of produce every week or bi-weekly from a farm. So if you're interacting with a new veggie or trying out a new herb, and you just didn't get to it right away, or you know that it's too much for you to eat that week, one of the ways that we love to preserve our food is with quick pickles. And that's what I'm going to show you today. Quick pickles is different than an actual full authentic pickling process. The pickling process can take much longer. And if you're familiar with canning, the pickles actually require a full immersion in a water bath, right? Which helps to stabilize the food from growing bacteria. So just to like take a step back, when we think about food preservation, we're trying to prevent the growth of harmful bacteria. And that's through those different methods that I talked about. Drying, which is removing water content, right? Freezing, which is to keep the food in its state. Just give me 1 second here. I want to close that door so it doesn't bother me. Okay, so freezing, of course. Then we have canning, which is a way in which we're using sugar or salt or acidity, really, to prevent the growth of bacteria. And that's how that canned item can become shelf stable, by incorporating those ingredients, right? And then we have, what else did I mention? We talked about dehydration, and then also you can do vacuum sealing, which then ends up usually in the freezer as well. So the quick pickle is kind of like this easy way to get around some of the extensive processing that comes with canning. And the cool thing about quick pickling is that you get to enjoy your produce within a few days, as opposed to some of the pickles and other pickled veggies really do better if it's immersed in that solution for a couple months to really like increase the depth of flavors. But again, this is really easy. I like to call it, it's like an entry way into food preservation if it was like really overwhelming for you. Again, the concept is that we're going to use vinegar, salt, and sugar to prevent the growth of bacteria, but we're also going to use refrigeration. And so that's the difference with a quick pickle and a regular pickle. Quick pickle goes into the refrigerator to keep it at that safe temperature, whereas the full canned pickle can be on the shelf because it has those ingredients in the brine to prevent bacteria growth. So does that make sense? Give me a thumbs up. Yeah. Cool. So we're going to talk about this next, but thank you for the thumbs up. Okay. So I actually was able to harvest a lot of radishes from our beds this week. And, you know, things like radishes and carrots, they're really easy to grow, and they often grow really fast. I mean, radishes, some only have 21 days, 24 days till you can eat it, which is so amazing. And I love radishes. I love them in my salad, and I love them pickled. And they are really like such a depth of flavor. Also, radishes don't always have to be spicy. The reason why they get spicy is if you leave them in long. And there are some varieties that are, of course, super mild, like a French breakfast radish, which, let me see if I have, oh yeah. Like you're familiar with these bubblegum, like big candy drop, or they're also called Easter egg radishes. But ones like a French breakfast radish are more long and narrow, and those are super mild. And they're so mild that actually a traditional recipe is to eat this on top of bread and butter in the morning with a little bit of salt. It's delicious. So we were able to harvest a lot of radishes that we had planted intermixed with all of the lettuce. And so now we have like way too many radishes that we're not going to be able to eat right away. Other things that you can, of course, quick pickle are carrots. Sometimes, you know, you buy one of those big bags of carrots and you're like, oh my gosh, they're going to go maybe bad before I can eat all of them. So you can also do carrots, cut them up like into spears. Other things I love to quick pickle are jalapenos and red onion. What's so fun is the vinegar and the red onion interact and it turns it pink, which is really beautiful on top of salads and tacos and things like that. So just those are just some of the few options, but as summer comes up, you can use cherry tomatoes, you can use cucumbers, of course. Summer squash and zucchini taste excellent as a quick pickle. And you can even do garlic. I love pickled garlic. It kind of just adds like another flavor to it. What else? Just if anyone else can add into the chat, um, what kind of pickles have you made before? And if you have made a quick pickle, would love to see from you guys, and the rest of the group would love to see from you as well. So go ahead and add that. And then someone added, I use my extra veggies to make broth. I'm so glad you brought that up. That could be a whole other video, but I will digress for a minute here that I keep a bag in my freezer and I fill it with the ends of onions and onion skins, also with garlic skins, garlic pieces, any kind of carrot ends, anything like that, celery, of course, ginger. I keep piling that in that bag, Ziploc bag in the freezer. And once it's full, I then put it in my Instapot with water and cook it for, I think it's about 100 minutes. You can even do less, but then I have my own broth. And that has been an amazing way to use those scraps, which then can go into the compost when you're finished. So thank you so much for bringing that up. Broth is an amazing, amazing thing that you can do at home, and you don't have to buy that anymore, I promise. Okay, so how do we do the quick pickle? First of all, we want to make our brine. And for quick pickling, my preference is to use equal parts water and vinegar. The cool thing with pickles is that because we're using refrigeration as the ultimate way in which we're preventing that bacteria growth, you can have some flexibility with the vinegar that you're using and the type of spices. Typically, when you are canning and want those pickles to be shelf stable, you have to reach a certain acidity to make sure that bacteria doesn't grow. But with quick pickling, you can even use apple cider vinegar, rice vinegar, white wine or red wine vinegar, or even just plain white vinegar. I have just plain white vinegar right now, and this is equal parts water and vinegar plus sugar and salt. The sugar is optional, but I think that it adds a little bit more complexity to the flavors, and sometimes just the salt and vinegar can leave it a little bit more sour. Sugar helps with that a little bit. Awesome. Someone else is talking. Oh, Vanessa, I think that's who it is that you're adding your scraps for broth. Very cool. So this is your brine, and what you do is you put it all in a pot on the stove and simmer it and let those the salt and sugar dissolve, and then that's it. That's your brine. So you'll notice I have jars of all different kinds of sizes and with the labels still on. So one of the things that I have tried to do really hard with my buying and purchasing, if I'm not growing it and if I have to buy it, things like a Kalamata olive, I'm trying to find sourcing for packaged food in glass. And glass then becomes something that can be more everlasting in my home with multiple uses, right? I can use leftovers, I can put dry goods in here, and I can also use it for quick pickles. Because again, we're not like immersing this in a water bath. The best thing to do is wash with soapy water. You can also boil it if you want for extra cleanliness and make it extra sterile. If you do end up boiling it, then you can take the time to remove the stickers over here. But I just use soapy water, hot soapy water. You can also run them through the dishwasher, and that's great. So I have, again, like all these different size jars, and I also have different seasonings. So the other part of the fun of this is the variety of seasonings and spices that you can use. I have, of course, just like a traditional pickle blend that I bought in bulk. It has mustard, coriander, oregano, peppercorn, and some things, bay leaf probably. So that's something you can use. In here, I have lots of garlic and dried rosemary. I have thyme, dill, of course, and bay leaf. And you can use dry or fresh herbs. I do have some cilantro here from the beds. You can throw that in too. Other awesome herbs, of course, are oregano, fennel. Fresh dill is my favorite when it comes to pickling. I think it just is perfect flavor. You can also experiment with some edible flowers like nasturtium or nasturtium leaves. The leaves of nasturtium are actually delicious as they are and edible, and I love putting those in as well with the quick pickles. Okay, so we have brine and different kinds of spices. I do want to mention you can also use things like ginger and turmeric, which adds amazing flavor profiles as well. So I have some radishes that I already cut up, and this is super simple. Use your funnel. This is one of the best tools you could ever have in your house. If you don't have a funnel that fits into a jar, please get one. So you can take a few extra moments and just separate all those radishes after cutting them. And these radishes are, again, the two different varieties that we were growing right now, an Easter egg and also the French breakfast. Again, you can choose like any shape that you want, which makes it fun. Cherry tomatoes, you can do whole. The zucchini, you can do slices. Carrots, you can even do in coins as well. Okay, so I filled it up and I'm not going to totally pack it because you do want some space for the brine and the seasoning. So in this one, I'm going to add a bay leaf, and I want to add some garlic to this one. The garlic you can do whole, you can do whole or in slices. I'm going to choose to do slices. If you cut it up, it releases the flavor a bit more. And so the flavor will be a little bit more intense as opposed to just leaving them whole. That will be less, be more mild flavor actually. Okay, so garlic. And honestly, like you can, once you've done your first batch, then you can experiment with future batches. Like, oh, that was like way too much garlic, or that was not enough garlic. I'm gonna add like a couple pinches of thyme on that one. And then I take my brine and I just fill it up. You wanna hit it on the table a couple times to let all the air bubbles come up to the surface. You can add a little more.
I have a question from Facebook.
Oh, awesome.
Are you mixing fruits and veggies for pickling?
Oh, so there's a question. Are you mixing fruits and veggies? I have not actually done other fruits technically besides tomatoes. I haven't done any other fruits. And yes, you can mix those, like tomatoes with onion and garlic, quick pickle is delicious, or tomatoes with zucchini, awesome. So then you give it just a couple shakes, let the spices distribute. If your brine is still warm, keep this on your counter for it to come to room temperature, and then you can put it in your refrigerator. Then after that, let it sit for a couple days and infuse. And then you can keep it in the refrigerator for up to 2 months and enjoy it that way. So pickled radishes go great on salads. They can go in your salsa on top of tacos, all kinds of things. I'll make one more. How much time do I have, Lucian?
Yeah, 3-4 minutes.
Okay, cool. I'll make another one with the carrots. So again, you can be really creative with the shapes and sizes of your veggies. And one of my favorite actually recipes for carrots, to use turmeric. You can use the powder, of course, if you don't have like fresh turmeric. Turmeric and ginger, and what's the other one that I love to put in here? Oh, and coriander. So it becomes a little bit more of a Eastern flavor profile. There we go. Some of these are a little too long, that's okay. And with the tomatoes I mentioned, you can do, you could even do some mozzarella balls. That's something that I've tried before, which is super yummy. Okay, there's something, let's see, is something about onions. Can I reuse the vinegar from my purchased pickles and olives? That's a really good question. I would say yes, but not like the whole thing. Mix it with some additional brine and make a new one, just so that you're adding some more acidity, because after those pickles had been sitting that you purchased already, that vinegar the acidity starts to break down. Add it with some new brine, and you can also stretch it out that way. The other thing you may run into is if you're reusing brine, it can actually get cloudy, and not that there's anything wrong, but it's not as aesthetically pretty. But if you do see cloudiness, it doesn't necessarily mean that something bad happened. It just happens with the acidity waning over time, if that makes sense. And then pickle brine is good to drink. Yes, it is. It's super good for your digestive system. Anything fermentation wise, as we know, is going to help your gut flora. So you can take a swig of this when you eat some of your pickles. Could you tell us brine ingredients ratio? Yes, so I like 1:1. 1:1 is water to vinegar, and then typically 1 tablespoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of sugar. I like to use pickling salt. It just happens to have a better like flavor profile, and it goes with the pickling process better. And oh yes, cumin exactly is the other ingredient that I like to add to the carrots. Thank you for adding that. I put rosemary in this one, and I'm going to do some of this pickling spice. Any other comments that I'm missing? I think that's it. Okay. All right, so that is the quick pickle process, you guys. It is so simple. The best thing also with this is that you can make a lot of this if you're growing in your garden this year, and have extra veggies, and you can share with your neighbors. Super easy in your family. It makes it a great gift, especially at summer solstice or at the end of the growing season in the fall. So again, you can keep these in your refrigerator for a couple months. Do you want me to talk about the beeswax now?
Tell them about the videos.
Oh, awesome. So we actually have a full-length video on this process on the website that Lucian will share the link with you. But it takes you through all of this in a little bit more detail. So you have that access that he'll give to you at the end of our session together today. And thank you so much for joining me for Quick Pickle. Do you want me to talk about beeswax now?
Why not?
Okay. So I love obviously talking about this because as Lucian mentioned, I am a beekeeper, and I could talk for 2 hours about bees. But another way that we're finding plastic running into our kitchens is through some of those things like saran wrap, Ziploc bags, even like I just mentioned. I know that sometimes it seems like it's the best option, but there isn't, something else to keep those ingredients intact or safe in the refrigerator or leftovers or whatever it is. So aside from glass, if you are trying to reduce plastic, here's something that you can do at home. I have eliminated saran wrap from my house, and I'm really proud of that because I just grew up in a home that it was really easy to just unroll the saran wrap, put it on a bowl, and be done with it, right? But there's something called a beeswax wrap, and this is really simple. You can use to purchase these that are already made. They're not that expensive, or you can make them at home. I actually am not going to show you the full complete process because we do have a full-length video that we're going to share with you that I already made to go through the whole process to make it. But I just want to share with you the few tidbits about it. If you have ever seen beeswax before, it's in its raw form. Beeswax comes from the honeybee, and it's used in their home to build out their comb, which holds honey and the babies and pollen and everything. It's their house structure. Bees make beeswax from their body by consuming honey. And it's a very intensive process. And beeswax is it's a very precious resource. But you can work with local beekeepers to source beeswax and support a local beekeeper directly, as opposed to supporting a much larger commercial operation. And luckily, there are many beekeepers in Southern California that would love to work directly with other customers so that when they have beeswax to sell, they have someone to sell it to. Now, the process is you're taking a piece of fabric, a cloth, hopefully cotton, which is preferred, and organic if possible, and cutting it into different shapes and sizes. Once you've done that, there's two ways to complete the next step. But basically the idea is that you're adding beeswax on top of this fabric. You can use a brush or you can just melt it in your oven. And then it's going to harden. Once it hardens, it has this pliability that becomes like this beautiful new material. And this is then what you can use to cover your leftovers. Now, the full-length video that we're going to share with you talks about the few steps, again, to do this, to make it at your home. And there is a little bit of oil that you mix with the melted beeswax. And you can do it over a double boiler or just in your oven. But when you reach that perfect pliability, it molds to the container, the shape of the container, and then you can put this in your refrigerator and keep your food safe. The other cool thing is that you can use it to wrap something. This is a great shape for a sandwich. If you're packing lunches and you want to pack a sandwich, it fits nicely in here. You fold it up this way. And this one happens to have like a really cute little tie on it so that it goes around like that. So this is also another way to reduce the aluminum foil usage. Anything that you're using to keep leftovers or to package food. So again, the bees are constantly giving us gifts, pollination and honey, and now we can use beeswax as a sustainable solution to reduce waste in your home too. So again, those two full-length videos will have all of the juicy details how to do it at your house. So I'm really grateful for all of you to be here. Happy Earth Day. And thanks for joining me on my first cooking show.
Can I have some of this pickling stuff, or it's like we have to wait a little bit?
You have to wait, but you can have it. Try some right now.
I could try some right now. So I'm going to have one of these radishes that, we're growing. The funny thing is that the radishes are coming right from this bed right here, which is so amazing. So we encourage you to move in that direction. So I'm going to move back to my station. And I'm going to take, is this like,
oh, this is the compost. Yeah.
Yeah, these are some of the things that, we're not going to save. And, instead of throwing them in the trash, we're going to give them to the little worms. So I'm going to go to my station. I'm going to see you there in a moment. Do you have any songs, Ana Maria?
No.
Awesome.
Bye.
And here I am. This is, I'm still chewing I'm still chewing the radish, so thank you for wow. Thank you for still being here. Wow, look at that. There's people that are sharing all kinds of resources here. I'm so excited that you were able to come today. I'm so excited that you're here. Thank you for those people that are on Facebook, and thank you for understanding that we cannot interact with you all the time. But thank you for the people that are here on Zoom, and you are here to celebrate with us. So one last thing, remember, right? We had kind of like in the context of Anna Maria. Let me finish this radish here. You can never have a good workshop without a little bit of funny moments and goofy moments. But anyway, just in the context of what Anna Maria was saying, that and in the context of the entire conversation today, that we can think before even taking some of these actions that we talk about, many other steps in advance on how we can reduce waste in general. And that's like really beautiful for us. It's really great for our cities, for the places where we live, and beyond that, that we are having, you know, a light impact and a positive impact on our planet. So happy Earth Day, Earth. Happy birthday, Earth. Happy Earth. Happy something. You know, just we just love being able to do this. And as you can see, it's really simple. But anyway, back to that context, right? She was saying, you know, you can plan on how many things you're going to grow, how many things you're going to buy. And then you won't, you know, and then if you have extra and you want to eat some fresh, but then you have some extra, you can do this quick pickling, which is very simple. And again, there's a video that I will share with you. Anyway, and there's some more answers there that Anna Maria is typing. But then if you have this unavoidable, this is going to happen, right? These little ends of the radish, this little ends of the carrots, some of the peels. I'm trying to do two things here. Let me see. Okay, now I can see. You know, these will be able to compost them, and I highly suggest, if you haven't taken a full or a longer length composting workshop with us, we highly recommend you come and take one to get like really some deep knowledge on vermicomposting, especially, and then on hot composting too, on yard composting too. So I'm going to touch on some of those ideas. So for example, you'll learn in the workshop that if you actually put these through a food processor and you make them even smaller pieces than they are, that you will actually, you know, the worms are going to decompose them faster, okay? And they're going to transform them into compost even faster. So I'm going to get to this part of vermicomposting, and it's very obvious that we will create organic waste. We will create, you know, in the form of kitchen scraps, or in the form of yard trimmings, or in the form of food waste too. Maybe just because we got so busy, and and even in the beginning, we may make mistakes and not plan so well on our growing and on our shopping. And the example I always give, you know, that big bag of carrots from Costco. Costco is not sponsoring this, and they don't give me $5 every time I say this, but you know, that big bag of carrots, and you're so excited because it's so affordable, and you buy it, and then if you didn't plan right, you may have some of them that are going bad, and you're not going to use them. So you know, that's kind of like food waste. So you definitely want to compost that. Okay, so in the context of composting, really the first step is, let's reduce as much as possible our generation of, like, you know, generating organic waste. Let's plan our gardens in a specific way. Let's plan our meals in a specific way. And then if it happens that we have all of this waste and all of these scraps from the kitchen, or, you know, our yard has a big cleanup spring and fall, we can compost, and we can make this beautiful black gold of organic gardening and agriculture and farming. that is vermicompost, or another type that could be like cold or hot compost. I highly recommend you come and get some of these ideas. But I wanted to show you vermicomposting is the simplest, easiest way to compost at home. Anybody can do it. You don't need a big space. All you need is, you can do it in your kitchen. You can do it in your garage. You can do it on your balcony, depending on what kind of sun it gets. You can do it in your bedroom if you want to. We found ourselves sometimes here as we moved from different places. We want to have, worms everywhere. We even had one time we took some worms with us. We had the opportunity. We got a gift from some friends when we were visiting, and we brought it to our hotel room. So we were like, what are we gonna do? So we really love this process. So you really don't need a big space. You can do it at a larger scale. You can do bigger scales that I'm about to show you, but I'd like to get you started with just understanding a few basic concepts. Okay, so what you would need to start a vermicompost bin, which is the fastest way to transform kitchen scraps or food waste into compost, into vermicompost. So the fastest way to do it, and again, it is possible with food waste and kitchen scraps only. You don't want to bring yard waste into your vermicompost bin that you have in the house. Even if you have one outside, you probably want to not put all types of yard waste in it. But the type I'm talking more of like home, in the house, the smallest possible. And I'm inviting you to consider just kitchen scraps and food waste. And again, there's so much more to learn out there. I'm introducing you to this home composting thing that we do on a regular basis. Even if we have bigger systems that we compost with, we definitely do the small scale home composting system all the time, everywhere. We start all of our friends, and started about at this point a little bit over 1,000 people in Carlsbad, or at least that's what they're saying, that they're still vermicomposting. Some people are like, so excited to start, and then they might be, if they're not continuing to do it, they're still saying, yes, I'm doing it. We're going to start a little community check-in moving forward to see who's still vermicomposting or not. I'm kidding about that, of course, but yeah, we have a lot of people that are doing it. So here's the simplest system that you would want to get. The simplest things that you need to know about vermicomposting. Number one is that the worms can eat half to their full body weight every 24 hours in the right environmental conditions. And if you want to know what those are, come and take a full course, but I can tell you a few of them, right? So they can eat half to their full body weight. That means a pound of decomposing vermicomposting worms can eat a pound of kitchen scraps and or food waste, right? So that's quite a lot. If you have 2 pounds, they can eat between a pound and 2 pounds. So they have a really fast decomposing capacity. Red wigglers are the best. There's all kinds of other species that are associated and basically a lot, not species, but varieties within the same species that are great decomposers too. African wigglers. There's European night crawlers. They're not as good as the red wigglers, but in general, out there on the market of vermicompost, red wigglers are the ones. So they can eat half to their full body weight in the right environmental conditions. They can double the population every 2 to 3 months in the right environmental conditions that you create in a home composting bin. And we can talk a little bit more of that. They're mostly vegan, raw vegan, so they'll eat veggies and fruits that, like the scraps that I was talking about earlier. And I'm going to show you another. I have another thing here with scraps. I remember last time Prakash was laughing pretty hard about my apple core when I was saying that somebody didn't eat this all the way to the end. So they're eating mostly veggies. There's a few things that you would want to stay away from. They really don't like, and it could really hurt them if you put processed foods in there in the vermicompost bin. So I'm not going to go too far with that, but there's a few things like don't put onion and citrus, don't put meat, don't put dairy in general. You can add eggshells if you eat eggs and you have a lot of eggshells, because that's the fourth thing that they need. They need a grit. They need something that they could basically ingest and pass through their body to clean their body. So it could be eggshells because they break really small, or it could be a handful of sand, or it could be a handful of soil from the garden that didn't have, you didn't use any chemicals, or nobody used chemicals on, right? So those are like a few facts. They'll eat half to their full body. They'll double their population every 2 to 3 months. They're mostly raw vegans. They need grit. That could be basically the eggs. Sometimes people think that coffee grounds can do the same, and it's possible that it does the same. They consume coffee grounds really well. They like a temperature not above 75. Even 75 is a little bit pushing it. The best environmental conditions, which have to do, of course, with the food and the grit, are between 65 and 75. That's when they're going to like really work really well and decompose their food waste and double their population. If it goes under 65, they'll just slow down. If it goes over 75 and further, your journey with vermicomposting is gonna end. Okay, so didn't want to say that they're gonna die, but oops, I think I said it. Oh, this is being recorded too. Anyway, so yes, you want to have them in a spot where that temperature is staying kind of like in that range. And then as one thing that I said earlier, the smaller the pieces of food, right? So let's say you're juicing something, or if you're producing all kinds of scraps that are bigger pieces like we have here, make sure you put them through a food processor and kind of like make them really mushy. They're going to go through it way faster. That doesn't mean they're not going to decompose this. It's just going to take longer. So that's kind of like the idea here of like looking at it in that way. Let's see. They need, okay, so we talked about temperature. They need really good airflow. So the space that they're in, like a bin, right? And I'm about to show you this, is not a jail. It's a castle. It's a beautiful condominium. It's a palace for the worms. It's a beautiful, amazing retreat center for all the worms. We want to create the right environmental conditions for them to want to be in there. We're not doing it to entrap them. Okay. Oh, someone told me not to add eggshells because can't digest, but good to know. Adds grit. Yeah, exactly. You can crush them as much as possible too. Eggs are basically a bunch of really small beads that are all held together by a membrane, and that's what makes the egg. And when it's like, the membrane is like decomposing and breaking apart, all those beads are being released, and that's kind of like what they're doing with it. Plus, you're going to have pieces that are never going to consume, because I'm responding here to a question, and that's long-term calcium that you will be putting in your garden. So back to this, airflow, very important. And then also moisture. So 6 was airflow, 7, moisture. Moisture is like a wrung out sponge. Wow, surprise, surprise, just like the soil we were talking about earlier, starting seeds, right? They need that moisture because they breathe through their skin, and that moisture is helping their pores stay open. If you don't have enough moisture, they'll dry out. Another way your journey with vermicomposting will end. Let's see if there's anything else to say here about kind of like what you would need to know. So to create this conditions, right, like the airflow and the moisture and the palace where you want to keep them, they also don't like light. They don't like light, so you would want to have them more in a dark place, because think about it, where are they in nature? They're in those few inches of the forest floor. They don't go in the earth. They're different. They're not earth worms. I like that. Arthur Schwartz, New York food cookbook for New York style dills, feeds your soul next to pastrami. Okay, I got some cool something, some message here. I don't know if it was for me or not, but anyway, back to the worms themselves. Let's just get it started, because I think I was trying to answer here, and and I got distracted. And I see here, hey, Mike, yes, please wash off the eggs. You could definitely do it if you're saving the eggs. But sometimes what we do is like, we'll just, if we have the bin right next to us, we'll just crush it on the spot and put it in there. But it is a better practice to actually wash the eggshells for sure. So Anna Maria always like, did you wash the eggshells before you threw them in there? And I say no. One more thing to understand. So again, they don't like light, but there's one thing to understand. In a worm bin, in a vermicompost system, you have way more organisms that are actually in the process of decomposing all that organic waste you're putting in there. All of that, you know, food scraps, kitchen scraps, food waste. There's way more many types of organisms that are doing that. So understand that it's not just the worms that are doing the decomposition, and that the conditions you're creating for the worms as kind of like the leading decomposers, but those conditions are equally important to those other microorganisms that do the decomposition before and after the worms. So come to a workshop, you learn a little bit more about how that is happening if you're interested. So here's a simple bin. I'm going to put this a little bit down. What you would need, we went through a lot of containers. I'm about to show you how to do one yourself. How to do a container yourself. We offer them via the Carlsbad Home Composting Program, a program that is sponsored and supported and co-created with the city of Carlsbad Sustainable Materials Management Division, and they are subsidizing different bins just to make it as accessible and easy for you to get them. So you can go to our website, and I'll provide that website. You probably know what it is already because you registered for this workshop. That on that website, you can find the two kinds of bins that we're doing right now. One, it's a yard composting, one, it's a vermicomposting. What happens is, like, we have multiple different kinds of bins that we've been putting on the website. But it's so amazing that Carlsbad residents love purchasing these and they love composting. So they purchase them really, really fast. And some types will just like be out of stock for you know, a month or even two sometimes. So this one, we actually don't have it anymore, but I'm about to show you. So you can find it yourself. You can do it yourself. Uh-oh, I think I left it. I think I left one of them over there. One of these. Were you doing it? I think it's by the hose. All right. So what you need, you know, we used to do it differently, but we want to invite people to consider different ways too. So for the longest time, we've done it with like two different trays. This one is called a catchment tray, and this one is called the living quarters. So you see one is smaller than the other. So the living quarters is basically where the worms will be living. Let me see if I can put this. Thank you so much, Anna Maria. And I hope you are okay with this kind of flow on an Earth Day, you know, with two tree huggers here for this beautiful workshop. So anyway, for the longest time, we've done it with a short tray and a big tray. Thank you so much. But we realized, and this is because we've been doing it like this, and it worked for a lot of people. A lot of people really love this system. But again, it went so fast. We've been getting so fast. So this is a system we curated. We just looked at what are the elements that we need to create for a worm bin, and we'll go out there, find it, and make it. Because if you try to buy one, some people actually won really cool ones last time on our last workshop. If you're trying to buy one, they can be very expensive. They can be, you know, $100 and more to really get them. So we're like, we can actually do it really more affordably. So we go out there, we do some research, we see what kind of bins we can get. We're always looking to get BPA-free plastic, because BPA plastic can actually leach into your vermicompost, and it could also hurt the worms. We also have been looking a lot at bioplastics, so plastic that's made from plants versus then made from petroleum. And it's really hard to find, especially for an affordable price. And that's what Carlsbad, the city of Carlsbad, and the Sustainable Materials Management Division has always asked of us: find the most affordable one, because you know, people sometimes may be reluctant to buy something for 50, 60, $100, even if we subsidize big part of the cost of that. So we found this, and this has been $20, $30 for the longest time. We even had it for $15 because we find it in a better place. But the basic thing is, like, that's what I'm inviting you to think about, to find your own. And this is a durable plastic. It is a BPA-free plastic, but it's it's not a bioplastic. It's still a plastic that's that had some impact on this planet. However, we're thinking that we are exchanging that with how we're going to use this. We're going to lighten our impact on the planet with how we use this plastic. So you need 2 trays, okay? One is considered the catchment tray. This is where you would get some of the liquid that is formed in the process of decomposition, and the moisture that you need to add to a bin to make sure that you keep your worms happy. And I see some people are wandering off. I hope you guys come back for the raffle. Anyway, so one is the catchment tray, and you'll see that's where the moisture goes in. And the other one is the living quarters, and they could be both the same size. I highly recommend doing them opaque, so not a see-through or with light, or if you do it something that's like a see-through plastic, which we've done before, you want to put it more in a dark place, and know that it would be dark at least at night, and the lights are not beaming on it because they don't like light. And then you can use a very simple drill and drill holes. And for the sake of this demonstration, I'm just going to do a few. But what you want to do is you want to drill as many holes as possible in the bottom of this tray without compromising its, the integrity of the bottom, like for the bottom to collapse. Okay, so you can find, you can kind of like make them all equal. You can mark them, you can measure it if you want to, put them at equal distances and so on and so forth. I'm not going to do a lot of them, but you see I started with this kind of like pattern here, and I can do some more in the between. Let me see. Right, so I'm doing more holes here. I can go even further. Now, right now, as you noticed, I'm also doing it above the other tray because there is some plastic, some microplastic here that I'm creating. And what I recommend doing with some of this is, let's say you have some type of plastic that you're recycling it, put that with that plastic, okay? Because this is recyclable plastic for sure. Okay, so I made these holes. So that's kind of like the waste that you've been creating here. But I made these holes, and now, this, when you're putting it on top of the other tray, is not going to touch the bottom. And that's perfect. In the other system, if you would put this one, it would touch the bottom. So we needed to have these risers if you're using a bigger one. So you would have to put these pieces. Sometimes you can use the handles if the trays you're finding, if the bins you're finding have these, you can put them at the bottom. So these things would basically rise the living quarters a little bit above the catchment tray, okay? But now, if it's a smaller system, you don't need those risers, okay? So I want to acknowledge someone here. I want to acknowledge a place where we worked before that came up with this system. Not necessarily came up with it, but really researched and found this beautiful way of doing it, and we've innovated on it since then and found our own ways to do it, which is the Ecology Center in San Juan Capistrano. So check that place out if you can. There's a lot of beautiful stories and beautiful things to learn from it. Hopefully you'll have one of those in Carlsbad soon. So anyway, so this, you have your catchment tray, you have your living quarters, and then to make it not so long, you have a lid, and I did the same thing with the lid. I drilled holes. Now you have airflow basically between these two, right? You have holes there, you have holes here. So you have airflow. Also, these holes allow for drainage. As I said, there'll be moisture, and that's going to go in the catchment tray. And this is your vermicompost bin. This has capacity of probably 2, maybe even 3 pounds of worms. The bigger one has capacity for 4, maybe a little bit more than 4 pounds of worms to work in there. So the next steps that you would do, let's say you purchased your worms or you win them today. The first thing you want to do is you want to put some bedding. So top of this bedding that I'm using right now, I'm using brown paper. You can use cardboard, you can use newspaper, you can use coconut coir. Again, remember I was saying you can use coconut coir for soil mixes, for seeds. You can use cardboard, so raw paper. So you're taking it even further here, where you're recycling more things in your house besides your food waste that you're transforming it into compost. So for demonstration purposes, I'm not gonna do this bedding completely, but basically you're shredding. You can use this beautiful, amazing technology. You don't necessarily have to have a shredder that you plug in and you press a button, but you can use these beautiful things called hands to shred as much of this brown paper, cardboard, or newspaper, or coconut coir, or other materials that you think will do these two things. Will allow air to circulate freely, and will also keep moisture at a level like a wrung out sponge, instead of keeping it super mucky or drying out too fast. So people always ask, can you put straw, can you put leaves? You need to understand that a lot of these leaves, for example, will just like will never like soak up any of that water, or soak up too little water. So you won't have the right amount of moisture in there. You could use it, and I've seen people recommending that. I don't recommend. I've tried it. I've done it for a decade here. And the best is to have a material that's really soaking up water, and it's keeping it in a way where it's just like when you start the seeds, right? With a coconut coir, for example, where it's allowing drainage and it's keeping, a constant good moisture. So this first level, it's called the bedding, right? You can call it the mattress, because there's some more parts to the bedding. And you want to put as much bedding, about 2 to 3 inches, or until you can't see the bottom anymore. Sometimes it could be an inch if your newspaper is shredded really thin. Don't do white printing paper, and don't do any shiny magazine paper. White paper has bleach in it. And what does bleach do? Bleach kills bacteria and life. And I said it earlier, besides the worms, you have all kinds of microorganisms, all kinds of bacteria that are doing decomposition in here too, and we don't want to hurt them. So put that first bedding in here until you can't see the bottom. Then you can introduce your worms. So these guys are my friends. I do name them all, and I love them all. This is the system that we are actually distributing right now for city of Carlsbad. So you can purchase this online for $10 basically. And I can show you, they're really happy in here. Let me see, let me find a good hand of them. Where are you guys? George, where are your friends at? Mary, come on out, guys. Oh, there you are. All right, so I'm gonna show you these guys. So let's see. Here they are. They don't mind doing this. They've been in the show many times. Okay. So here's the red wiggler guys. So let's say you purchase them, or you win in them today, or you get them from a friend. Make some posts. Send me a message. I'll make posts on our Facebook page. I'll make posts on my personal page. If you're looking for somebody to give you some worms, because remember, they double their population. They grow exponentially. So a lot of people that started this, and like I told you, I think it's a little bit over 1,000 people that started this systems in Carlsbad. There will be people that were really successful and produced a lot of worms. And I think I saw somebody that started a business in Carlsbad that came to one of these workshops and is selling worms too at the farmer's market. So introduce your worms, okay, to the system. The best practice would be to give them a little bit of water.
I'm using the same one, right? Look how many uses I'm finding to this. I was watering the seedlings, now I'm watering my little worms. So I'm giving them a little bit of water to hydrate them. And then a lot of times you'll see people telling you not to feed them right away, not to give them something right away. And it could be true, but it wouldn't hurt necessarily. Worms like take a little bit to get used to their environment. So, they probably are not going to consume too much. My worms here, I think they've traveled so much in all of these live webinars, and I used to do these in person too, that they're used to doing that. Of course, I'm joking here, but you can put food waste right away to kind of like tell them welcome. Here's what's going to happen here. So let me move this away out of your way so you can see. I'm adding here a little bit of waste. I'm just looking at, let's say I put a pound in there. I'm not going to start them with a pound of food. I'm going to give them, I don't know, a quarter pound, half a pound of food waste. I'm adding it in there. And then the next step is really important. Add more of the bedding. Now you're going to add a layer of the bedding on top of this. It could be 2 to 3 inches on top of the worms and the food waste that you just added there. And again, the food waste, the kitchen scraps, not on top of the worms, but a little bit to the side, okay? We don't want to say, welcome, here's some food, right? You can put them a little bit on the side. So I'm doing more bedding. It could be 2 to 3 inches, or it could be enough to cover all of those worms and whatever it came with it, and the kitchen scraps right on top, okay? So it could be 2 to 3 inches, it could be less, it could be more, just cover so you don't see anything. And I like to do one more last thing. If you're using newspaper, it can work really easy. If you're using cardboard, it can work really easy. If you're using brown paper from my shopping bags here, it could work really well. I like to take a sheet that's almost like covering completely the surface of the bin. With a newspaper would be really easy. I make a few holes through it. Okay, can you tell what I'm about to do with it? For demonstration purposes, I'm not going to make all the holes, but I'm just making a few holes. And I'm going to moisten a little bit the bedding that I put on top, the blanket, and I'm also going to moisten these sheets here too. Of course, you can do it differently than me. I'm in front of the camera and I'm trying to move it along so you guys can like participate in the raffle. And you use it as a blanket on top. This does multiple things. This is going to cover the entire bin. You saw how I just placed it there. And it's going to make sure that we don't have all kinds of flies going to put their eggs in there, and they're going to, start all kinds of like funkiness in there. Couldn't find a better word, but you don't want flies to find their way into your kitchen scraps in there. So you covered with like shredded paper, and then you add this layer. So this can cover really well and not allow bugs to kind of like smell it or see it or find their way in there, because maybe some of them will try, but if you're covering this pretty well, they're probably not going to be able to go under. Another thing is like you can see moisture with this, right? If you look on the top of it when you open the lid after a few days and there's still moisture, guess what? Maybe you don't need to add water. But if you see it's super dry and you lift up and it's like super dry, all the shredded stuff, you may have to add a little bit of water in there. If it's still wet, well, wow, you're doing an amazing job. You find the right place where it's not drying out all that bedding. And it's not super hot, and it's like perfect kind of like conditions. Okay. Another thing that you can do also is that when you feed, you can lift this up, put the food waste, and then put this thing right on top of it, right? So you continuing kind of like that idea that at one point this is going to be eaten too. That's the cool thing about all this bedding that's going to be consumed and transformed into compost too in the mixture with all of your food waste. Oh, there's George and Michael over here. Oh, and I think this is also Vanessa. Oh, wow, we do have a Vanessa human and a Vanessa worm here with us. Awesome. Vanessa, I hope you didn't mind I used your name for one of my worms. Okay, awesome. So with that said, lid on top, out of the sun. And then if you want to hear more about troubleshooting,
and about how do you harvest this compost and how do you use it, guess what? Come to one of our full workshops. I got you. I hope you will. We have one. It's on May 29th. So it's the last Saturday in May. Again, it's part of the Carlsbad composting program that's supported by the City of Carlsbad's Sustainable Materials Management Division. Maybe I should ask them to give me $1 every time I say their name. Anyway, so every last Saturday of every, well, 3 times a year, 6 times a year, we have 6 months where the last Saturday is going to be a workshop. But every month of the year, we do a Q&A on Facebook Live, and we're going to start doing it on Instagram Live, maybe on YouTube Live. We've tried it on Zoom too, where you can come and ask any questions related to it. So it won't be a workshop, but it will be questions related to home composting. Maybe you started and you're having problems. Maybe you are still thinking if you want to start or not. So thank you so much. So thank you so much for being here. I see some questions here. Well, okay, I like this. Mike Perez has been in this class before, and says, "What do worms use to leave messages?" And then the answer is composted notes. I really like that. Beautiful. Really like that. Okay, so this was today. I hope you had a lot of fun. I'd like to invite you, before we go into some feedback for, basically, I'm inviting you to give us feedback. We're not going to see the feedback right away. The feedback is to know if we should continue this work, if City of Carlsbad should keep us doing this work, if I should keep myself doing this work, if Anna Maria should keep me doing this work. You want to come closer too? So before that, I'd like to invite, if anybody would like to come to the mic and share anything about what transpired today. And then I'm going to give you a link, give you a few moments to do the feedback. And then that information that you're providing in there, we have a software that's going to choose winners of a few of our of the gifts. And I'm going to show you the gifts while you are doing the form, okay? But I'd like to see, is there anyone that would like to come take the mic and come share with us anything about today? Maybe just say Happy Earth Day again to everybody in Carlsbad, or anything that you got inspired to say or do. We're so excited to have you come share. So I'm going to mute myself for a moment here and just let you fight for the microphone. Take it easy, take it easy. Don't jump on the microphone. Thank you, Mike, for saying that we're doing a great job. Anytime, just pick up the mic, whoever wants to pick up the mic. And you can, I don't even have the feedback form started. So somebody take the mic, please. Anybody? Okay. Let's see. Don't leave. We're going to have to do the raffle. All right. So what I am going to do is I'm going to find that feedback form. I'm going to give it to you. And then I'm going to put those raffle pictures so you can see them in a moment here. Thank you so much for your patience. And thank you for participating so much via the chat. And then again, remember that you would you have access to a lot of these videos. I see that somebody already accessed them and put some comments on YouTube. So with the information you've given us today in the feedback form, the email address, I know you registered already, but we want to make sure that we are putting people in the raffle that are here. We are going to run the raffle, and you're also going to get a link to or many links to different resources that we've created for you. Okay, so here is the form. I am going to put it here and to everyone. Thank you for being here. So please take a few moments. we're almost at the 2 p.m. mark. Please take a few moments to respond to that feedback form. And then we are going to see those feedback answers just coming through live for us here. We're not going to see your answers, but we're going to see your name. So even if you give us bad feedback, you're still part of the raffle. We want sincere feedback for sure. We hope that you really enjoy. Okay, so all right, so you have that link, and we're gonna start seeing all these. How do I get my Maze Vermicompost bin, which I won in the raffle last week? I just send you, Prakash, I just send you an email about that. So we communicated that we'll communicate with you individually. So we are going to order everything at the end of this week. That needs to come from a different company. And some people also want garden consults. So we're going to connect you with our student designers. And you will get that information. So there is that. And now, Prakash, you're not even going to be able to be in the raffle for an additional one, but maybe you win worms today. You never know. So here's what we are going to raffle. Let me open that for you. A moment here. Let's see if we have any people that use the feedback form. Okay, we got Lindsay. She used the form. We got Michael that used the form. We got Sandra. We got Greg that used the form. This is awesome. Thank you so much for doing that so fast. Okay, so let me open these. So what we're going to raffle today are 3, possibly 6 things, depending on how many entries we have here. So our system is telling us that some of the people that put this feedback already won different things. So we are going to do a really fancy indoor vermicompost bin. That's going to be our probably one of like the best gifts. So we're going to do one fancy one. We're actually doing 2 vermicompost. So we're using you as a guinea pig to see if we should offer these as part of the Carlsbad composting program, okay? They are amazing. They're fantastic. They're really well designed, really, really beautiful for indoor. So we're going to do 2 of those vermicompost bins. We're going to do one of the geo bins. We're going to do one order of worms, of decomposing worms. And then we're going to do another garden consult. So that's where I wanted to let you know that that's who we are. Anna Maria and I, we design gardens of all different sizes for private and public entities, small farms and large farms. So we're consulting, not just creating educational programs like these. We actually do the work itself. Elizabeth, I put the form link a little bit higher in the chat. Is the one that starts with the doc. So and we teach garden design. We teach composting at a really deep level, and we have a lot of graduates of our programs and from our we teach at Saddleback College in Orange County. Also, a lot of our students that are part of our team and or started their own company to do garden design. So that's one of the things you're going to win, and it's a really high value. So let's see. We have 17 people that are still here. Let's see how many responses we have so far. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Only 7. So I'm going to give it one more moment here because otherwise, okay, let's see. We have more than 7. Let's see, unless some people left their computer. So we have Lindsay, Michael, Sandra, Greg, Annalisa, Cassidy, Janet, Laura, Robin. Oh, wow, we forgot to share it on Facebook. Should we share it with the Facebook people too? Okay, let's see. There's, we'll share it with the Facebook people too for feedback if they want to participate. We see that there's still some people that are still live there too. And we're gonna run the software here in a minute. And I wanted to acknowledge that it is 2 p.m. So we are going to probably go 10 minutes over. Okay, we got Mike also. Mike's came in. We'll just wait for a few more and then we're gonna run it. We're gonna run the first one. So here is the first, let's see, first winner. Before doing that, let me show you what's the first item. So the first item, I'm going to share the screen right now. Okay, the first item. Can you see my screen? Can I get a thumbs up from someone? Elizabeth, can I get a thumbs up? Awesome. Thank you for the thumbs up. So the first is a really cool value. It's $115. This is like way beyond, you know, the ones that that are subsidized by the city and the program, but we're hoping to bring some of these in. This is a really high value, really beautiful, well-designed indoor vermicompost system. The size is like perfect. It's not huge. So let's see where the size is at. And we purchased ours, but we didn't receive it yet, but we got a lot of feedback from other people. So let's see, where's the where are the, okay, so dimensions 15 by 15 by 22. So it's a pretty small system. And I like to first ask people that do not want to be part of this. And again, if you're not a Carlsbad resident, I forgot to mention that you're going to have to find yourself a really good friend in Carlsbad to give it to or to participate with. So let me see. Give me a moment here. I'd like to invite you to say in the go ahead, Robin, and type it. I'll answer it once we are done with the raffle. I'd like to invite you to type into everyone and say if you don't want any of the gifts. So if you don't want this gift, if you don't want to participate in getting this gift, then you can say no, and we're going to forego your name in the raffle here. But the first winner of this first one is, doing it, we're doing it. Okay. Wow, and she just left, or she didn't know. It is Laura. Let's see if there's any more than one Laura. There's only one Laura here. So Laura. Okay, give me a moment here. Awesome. Yes, I will do. Thank you, Linz. So Laura won the, are you excited, Laura? Are you still here? Yay! So this is called the Frog Vermicomposter. This is gonna be on record here. Okay, the next one is another indoor composter, and this is something that Prakash won last time, so he's not gonna be considered in this one. This is a maize worm vermicompost bin. This is also really beautiful. Let's see, what was the size here? 15 by 15 by 11. So this is a little bit smaller, but as you can see, it's actually the range of the cost is a little bit bigger. So between $100 and $140. And the winner of that system, and again, you can say in the chat if you don't want to participate in this. The winner of the maize vermicompost is come on, is Greg. Greg is the winner. Let's write it down here. Yeah, Greg is like drinking his mimosa for the right now. Like he's starting to drink mimosa after he won this one. It's probably a virgin mimosa, right, Greg? It's a compostable mimosa. So Greg won the maize vermicomposter. Beautiful. Thank you, Greg, for allowing me to make that joke. I think I'm like super excited today. It's probably an Earth Day celebratory mimosa. Are you and Sandra related? That would be funny if you guys are. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to do is going to be the GeoBin that our program is offering. And I apologize for not having that picture, but I'm actually going to pull it up really fast. So this is Carlsbad. Oh no, this is our website, the Earth Consulting. So you probably have seen this here. Really easy. You can go to our Carlsbad composting program, and I should have went already to you can find it really easy by clicking on purchase supply. So this is the we're not going to raffle this because this is very affordable. It's just $10. Anybody can actually get it. But we are going to raffle the big GeoBin system. I'm going to show it to you because we don't have a good picture of it. But this is an expandable system. Okay, so it's going to be like rolled up like this, but it expands to 5 feet, and it's 3 feet tall. It can expand to about 5 feet diameter. It's for people with yards, so it's for yard composting. So that one, we are going to raffle it right now. Okay, Sandra says, no, I don't want that one. Okay, Sandra, so let me cut you out of this raffle here. The winner is, Robin says no. Okay, let me take Robin too. Okay. It is Cassidy. Cassidy won the GeoBin, which is a yard composting bin again. Oh, okay, you're excited. Cool. I hope you are going to use it. If not, make sure you offer it to someone in this community here. Let me send this to everyone. Cassidy won the GeoBin. Okay, so for the last, we are actually going to do one more thing. We are going to raffle a 1 pound of decomposing worms, okay? And the rule with the person that wins the decomposing worms is that they will have to let us know, they'll have to wait for us. If they purchased one from us or they purchased a bin from somewhere else, you're going to have to tell us that you have a bin before we are going to order for you. So we are going to order 500 red composting worm mix for you. This is like between half to a full pound of worms. Okay, so this is it right here. And I see a few people that are saying no, no, no. I don't want to be in this raffle. Okay, so thank you for bearing with me up to PM here. Okay, so this is what we're raffling, and if you don't want them again, you can offer them to someone in the community. So the winner is Lindsay. Lindsay is the winner of the pound of worms, and I think she's not here anymore. We're gonna have to ask her. So I see another question here that you didn't receive any information about the things you want on a past workshop, and I wanted to invite you to look again in the email, but I am going to send that information again. So I apologize for not being clear that we are doing it after the last workshop, which was today. So we're doing it this weekend, and you'll receive that individual information. We'll make sure to send you an individual email versus then an email that we sent to everybody that won. So Lindsay won the vermicompost worms. Awesome. So now for the last one, which is a garden design, not a garden design, I apologize. It's a garden consultation between 45 minutes to an hour and a half. And I see here Sandra is saying no, thank you for that. She doesn't want to be part of that. Awesome. Okay, so this is the people that will come to help you. They're really professional. Elizabeth won this last time, and we're going to connect you with them. Amazing, three very amazing women. They are graduates of our design courses. We have full design, garden design courses, and they are very professional. As you can see, the type of designs that they're putting together. But this is just a consult. It's basically a walk in your garden, hearing what you would want to do something different about it, or maybe you're just open to suggestions on what's possible. Mike Perez also wants to be taken out of this. So with that said, and this is really high value, you might even get me to come if they're not coming to do it for you. Okay. The winner of the garden consult is Janet. Janet won the garden consult. Beautiful. Okay, so we celebrated today, learning a few different things. We celebrated together. We had a lot of fun, I hope. We learned new things. I've learned new things about myself and about the Carlsbad community. I've learned that you are amazing people that are committed to being part of the solution. And you will receive an email from me shortly in the next 45 minutes to an hour as a follow-up to this workshop with links to videos for every single small piece that we did today. So these are for, City of Carlsbad Sustainable Materials Management Division sponsored the creation of these videos. We've had them since last Earth Day, and we invite you to look deeper into, maybe you want to learn even deeper about quick pickling, more about composting, more about seed starting, more about beeswax making, which is a super awesome video, and a few other information, including all the winners from all the workshops that we had so far, and links to the workshops that we've done so far, the 10 ways to live a sustainable life. So you are, you'll have access to that. And also, and that video is not going to be there for a very long time. We're going to take it off Facebook. And also the short home composting one. So thank you so much. Thank you for all of your acknowledgments, and thank you for being here. And yes, we are going to continue to celebrate Earth Day in the most beautiful ways. And we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Happy Earth Day music. Do, 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 do. Yay. So amazing. Should we put some music and dance? We're still on. They can still see us. Let's put some music on. All right. Let's put some music on until everybody's leaving. Dance on this one? Thank you so much.